A lot of hoopla about age these days.
Okay, this is really pretty good, and usually I like these guys' videos.
But not for me.
See that guy in the red shirt? That's Alan Lichtman, 77-year-old Alan Lichtman. And he's racing in the qualifiers for the Senior Olympics. But there's another kind of race Alan's just as qualified for.
Alan Lichtman.
Alan Lichtman.
Professor Alan Lichtman, who has correctly predicted
almost every presidential election since 1984.
And today, Alan Lichtman's ready to tell us who's going to win in 2024. You see, you may think Alan's just a...
Then this guy, if true, if he always gets it almost all right, he should always all in all of his money, half of all of his assets into a betting. Just bet your house and life savings on the elections if you're gonna get them all correct.
Well, I was a steeplechase champion in the 1970s.
his name is Dr. Alan Lichtman.
But he's actually kind of a nerd, a history professor, and a quiz show champion. These days, he's on a different kind of winning streak. To make his presidential predictions, Alan's model ignores the polls and the pundits.
It hinges on 13 keys that I developed in 1981 with my
Okay. Yes, it's only 50-50, but 84 would mean 84. Okay, 84, 88, 92, 96, 2000, 2004, 8, 12, 16, 20, 10 in a row. That would be 20 in a row. 10 in a row. 10 in a row, right? 2 times 2, that's 2, times 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, it's only 50-50, but this guy seems like 1 out of 1,024.
geophysicist friend Vladimir Kailas-Borak. It's based on 120 years of presidential election outcomes before then.
Told you, he's a nerd. Alan's model was one of the few that called it for Trump in 2016.
Donald Trump is going to win.
And in 2020, Alan got it right again.
Trump will lose the White House.
The race was tight, but the keys were right.
So let's get to how these keys actually work.
They are 13 big picture, true, false questions that tap into the strength and performance of the White House party. And only 2 keys have anything to do with the candidates.
But Alan, 2024 is an unprecedented...
The fuck?
The strength and performance of the White House party. And only 2 keys have anything to do with the candidates.
But Alan, 2024 is an unprecedented election year. Can your 13 keys really call it right?
The keys absolutely will work. They are the constant northern star of political prediction.
All right, time to run these keys and find out who will be the next president of the United States.
Guys, people that don't understand the band-aid that Trump was wearing are branded. Okay, guys, I have no horse in this fight. Okay, I have no in this race. Okay, but I still think that people that were complaining about, dude, it's obvious. It's obvious. The band-aid, it's in fucking ear, brother. Like you don't want it to rub. You don't want to interrupt the healing, right? The thing is flush. Okay, brother. Like what about it? Like you're not some fucking
According to Alan,
medical
First,
doctor
let me
like on the
change
field
it
or
to
some shit.
something a little more.
How's it cap?
Number
Guy got
one,
shot at.
the White House party gained House seats between midterm elections.
The Democrats did better than expected in 2022, but they still lost House seats, so the key is false.
Remember, a false key is good for Trump. Number 2, the incumbency key. The sitting president is running for re-election.
Biden withdrew from the race, costing the Democrats this key. It is false.
Wait, you're saying it would have helped the Democrats if Biden stayed in?
If Biden stayed in,
Of
they
course.
would have salvaged this one key. That's all.
Okay. Moving on for now. Number 3, the White House party avoided a primary contest.
The Democrats finally got smart and united overwhelmingly behind Vice President Harris. So the key is true.
A true key. That moves Harris off the starting block. Number 4, there's no third-party challenger.
RFK Jr. has dropped out of the race, and no other third-party candidate is anywhere close to the 10% polling threshold needed to turn this key. It's true.
That helps
4
both,
keys
though,
in,
no?
and it's neck and neck.
Well, how
Let's
does
keep
that?
going.
Chat, how does that only help her?
Number 5, the short-term economy is strong.
Look, despite all the loose talk about a so-called vibe session, the economy is not in recession, so this key is true.
Number 6, long-term economic growth during this presidential term has been at least as good
Third party are mostly libs. Yeah, but I thought this RFK guy was a Republican, no?
as the last. Long-term economic growth during this presidential term has been at least as good as the last 2 terms.
Growth during the Biden term is far ahead of growth during the previous 2 terms, so this key is clearly true.
Number
Is
7,
that
the White
true?
House has made major changes to national policy.
Rejoining the Paris Accords on climate change, the CHIPS bill, the infrastructure bill, the Inflation Reduction and Climate Change bill. Clearly, the key is true.
Number 8, there is no sustained social unrest during the term.
There have been sporadic protests, but nothing approaching the massive, sustained social unrest needed to turn this key, so it's true.
But schools are just going back to session. With new protests, couldn't this key flip?
Yes, there are a lot of protesters upset with Biden's policies in the Middle East. But now with Harris, not Biden, front and center, that has dampened social unrest.
Number 9, the White House is untainted by scandal.
Oh, my favorite key, the scandal key. And Republicans have been trying for years to pin a scandal on President Biden and come up empty. So the key is true.
But come on, Alan. Biden's horrific debate.
Chat, I thought politics were rarely about truth, but more about the appearance of truth, right? This guy says that the economy had more growth in the last 2 terms, but how does it feel on the perception of the population? I feel like people think it's way worse. At least from what I'm seeing on the internet, people will say inflation is hard, cost of life is impossible, cost of rent. People are complaining a lot more now about how hard it is to live and make a living now than in the last 2 terms.
Performance, questions about his age, Hunter Biden. Doesn't any of that count?
No, there has to be at least some bipartisan recognition of actual corruption that implicates the president himself and not a family member. So the key remains true.
So 2 false and 7 true so far. Looking pretty good for the Democrats. We have 4 keys left, all of which would have to be false for Trump to have a path. Number 10, the incumbent party candidate is charismatic.
This is a very high threshold key. You have to be a once-in-a-generational, broadly inspirational candidate. Harris has not met that standard, so this key is false.
Number
Yeah.
11.
Also, unfortunately, in the current day and age, we're still at a point where women and charisma in politics is kind of like insta-lose, just because of just male bias and overall. They said yesterday, when a woman come off as strong, they come off as aggressive compared to males in public speaking. It's just what it is.
The challenger is uncharismatic.
Some people think Donald Trump is a god, but he only appeals to a narrow base, so that key is true.
But wait, that means...
The Democrats will hold on to the White House, and Kamala Harris will be the next president of the United States.
But wait a sec, Alan. We still have 2 keys left. The foreign policy keys?
You're right. Foreign policy is tricky, and these keys could flip. The Biden administration is deeply invested in the war in Gaza, which is a humanitarian disaster with no end in sight. But even if both foreign policy keys flipped false, that would mean that there were only 5 negative keys, which would not be enough.
So none of these other ones can flip. Huh? No, guys, it's not about it being against Trump or something. I don't give a fuck. I just feel like some of these things are kind of off. No? Can some of these not flip?
Both foreign
Social unrest, White House scandal.
foreign policy keys flipped false. That would mean that there were only 5 negative keys, which would not be enough for Donald Trump to regain the White House.
So I guess that means you're standing by your prediction.
Kamala Harris will be the next president of the United States. At least that's my prediction for this race. But the outcome is up to you, so get out and vote.
Well, I guess that settles that race. But what about the one we started with?
Well, I won some medals, I didn't get hurt, and I qualified for the 2025 National Senior Olympics. Not bad.
Well, I'm not even biased. I do think that she's probably going to win.
For a 77-year-old, huh?
Guys, it's not about what I want or what I don't give a shit. I just genuinely feel like even though they changed candidate and all that and all the whatever, it's a younger face. It's a younger whatever, and even though there's a big push in like red pill young males whatever, she gets a lot of points with like women and then young overall just off of who she is whatever, and I think that matters a lot.